It all starts with a whisper, a story, a headline that catches your eye. For me, that's exactly how it began. I kept hearing about the stock market on the news. It was this big, mysterious force. People were talking about it at the coffee shop, in line at the grocery store. They spoke of fortunes made overnight, of companies that started in a garage and grew into giants. I heard names like Apple, Amazon, and Tesla. It sounded like a secret club where people were making their money work for them. I wanted in. I wanted to understand this world. Was it really possible for a regular person like me to take part? Booyah! You bet it is. The curiosity was like an itch I couldn't scratch. It wasn't just about the money, though that was part of it. Let's be honest. It was about understanding the engine of our economy. How do these huge companies get so big? Why does one stock go up while another goes down? I saw stories of people who paid for their kids' college or retired early because of smart investments. It felt like they knew a secret language, a code to financial freedom. I was tired of just putting my money in a savings account where it barely grew. I wanted to be in the game, not on the sidelines. I wanted to take control of my financial destiny. I started reading everything I could find. I watched the financial news channels religiously. The ticker tape scrolling across the bottom of the screen was like a foreign language at first. But slowly, I began to recognize the symbols. I saw the green arrows and the red arrows, signaling a stock's daily battle. It was exciting. It was dramatic. This wasn't just numbers on a screen. It was the pulse of American business. Each stock represented a real company, with real people, real products, and real dreams. I realized this wasn't gambling. It was about believing in a company's future and owning a piece of it. That idea lit a fire in me. My 9-to-5 job was fine. It paid the bills, but it wasn't going to make me rich. It wasn't going to give me the freedom I craved. The stock market seemed like the land of opportunity, a place where hard work and homework could actually pay off in a big way. I knew there were risks. I heard the horror stories too, about people who lost everything. But I wasn't going to be that person. I decided I would be smart. I would be careful. I would do my homework. I was ready to stop wondering and start doing. It was time to step into the ring and make my first move. The call of the market was too loud to ignore. The day I decided to open a trading account was a big one. It felt like I was signing up for a mission to the moon. I sat at my computer, heart pounding in my chest. There were so many choices for brokerages. Which one was right for a beginner? I read reviews, compared fees, and looked at their educational tools. It was my first real piece of homework. After hours of research, I finally picked one. I filled out the online forms, entering my name, my address, and my financial information. It felt so official, so grown up. This was real. I was about to become an investor. No turning back now, baby. The nervousness was intense. What if I mess this up? What if I press the wrong button and lose all my money? These thoughts raced through my mind. It's a natural fear. You're putting your hard-earned cash on the line. But I reminded myself of my goal. I wanted to learn. I wanted to grow. I took a deep breath and clicked the submit button. A message popped up. Congratulations, your account is now open. It was a huge moment of relief and excitement. I had crossed the first bridge. I was officially in the game. I had a ticket to the big show. Funding the account was the next nerve-wracking step. I decided to start small, very small. This wasn't my life savings. It was money I was prepared to lose. Think of it as tuition for the School of Wall Street. I transferred a few $100s from my bank account. Seeing that balance appear in my new trading account was electrifying. It was my money, my capital, my war chest. It might not have been a lot to a Wall Street hotshot, but to me, it was everything. It represented my commitment to this new journey. I was no longer just a spectator, I was a player. For a few days, I just logged in and looked at my account. I didn't buy anything. I just watched the numbers. I explored the platform, learning where the buy and sell buttons were. I looked up stock quotes and read the news feeds provided by the brokerage. It was my new playground. The fear started to fade, replaced by a growing sense of empowerment. I had the tool. I had the capital. I was in control. The initial anxiety was just the price of admission. Now the real work and the real fun was about to begin. The market was waiting for me. With my account ready, I knew I couldn't just start buying stocks randomly. That's not investing, that's gambling. I needed an education, so I dove into the basics. I started with the simplest question. What is a stock? I learned that a stock is not just a ticker symbol on a screen. It's a tiny piece of ownership in a real company. When you buy a share of a company like Coca-Cola, you literally own a small part of that business. That idea blew my mind. I wasn't just betting on a number. I was becoming a part owner of a global enterprise. That shifted my whole perspective on what I was doing. Next, I had to understand why prices move. Why does a stock go up or down? I learned about supply and demand. If more people want to buy a stock than sell it, the price goes up. If more people want to sell than buy, the price goes down. Simple, right? But what makes people want to buy or sell? I learned about things like company earnings. When a company makes a lot of money, more people want to own it. I learned about news, new products, and the overall health of the economy. All these things could push a stock's price around. It was like putting together the pieces of a giant, exciting puzzle. I devoured every educational article and video my brokerage offered. I learned the difference between a market order and a limit order. A market order buys a stock at the current price, whatever it is. A limit order lets you set the maximum price you're willing to pay. That felt like a crucial piece of control. I didn't have to just accept any price. I could decide what I thought was a fair value. I learned about diversification, the idea of not putting all your eggs in one basket. Spreading your money across different companies and industries helps manage risk. This was my rulebook for survival. The more I learned, the less intimidating the market became. The jargon that once sounded like a foreign language started to make sense. Words like PE ratio, dividend, and market cap became tools in my toolbox. I wasn't just guessing anymore. I was starting to build a framework for making decisions. I realized that successful investing wasn't about finding secret hot tips. It was about doing your homework, understanding the fundamentals of a business, and having a plan. My initial fear was being replaced by a foundation of knowledge. I was ready to stop studying and start trading. The moment of truth had arrived. It was time to buy my first stock. My hands were literally sweating as I logged into my account. Which company would it be? I didn't want to buy a high-flying tech stock that I didn't understand. I decided to follow a classic piece of advice: buy what you know. I thought about the products I used every day, the companies I understood as a consumer. I chose a well-known company, a household name with a long history of solid performance and paying dividends. It felt safe. It felt smart. It was a company I could believe in for the long haul. This was my pick. I navigated to the trading screen. I typed in the ticker symbol. The stock's current price flashed on the screen. My heart was thumping. I decided to buy just a few shares. I set a limit order, a price I was comfortable with, just like I had learned. I reviewed the order one last time. The company name, the number of shares, the price. Everything looked right. I took a deep breath and I clicked the buy button. A confirmation screen appeared. Your order has been executed. That was it. I had done it. I was officially a shareholder. I owned a piece of a major American corporation. The feeling was incredible. A mix of pride, excitement, and a little bit of terror. I kept refreshing the screen, watching the price tick up and down by a few cents. A penny up, and I felt like a genius. A penny down, and I felt a pang of doubt. It was an emotional roller coaster over a few dollars. I made a small mistake right away. I checked the price way too often. Every 5 minutes, I was looking at my phone, obsessed with the tiny movements. I learned quickly that this was not healthy. Investing is a marathon, not a sprint. You have to trust your research and let the company do its work over time. Over the next few weeks, I settled down. I learned to check my portfolio less frequently. My first small trade taught me so much. It taught me about the emotions of owning a stock. It taught me the importance of patience. I even received my first tiny dividend payment, which was an amazing feeling, getting paid just for owning a stock. My confidence grew immensely. I was no longer afraid of the market. I knew I had a long way to go, but I had taken the most important step. I had started. Now, I was hungry to learn more, to find the next great company, and to continue my journey from zero to stock hero. The game was on.